Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the A4Q Testing Summit Edition 2025. I am delighted to be here with Irina Manole, discussing today Beyond the Code, Empowering Developers with Testing Essentials. So just another reminder, there will be a Q&A at the end of this session, and we also have our Best Presentation and Best Speaker Award. So please go to Irina's profile on the A4Q Testing Summit website, that's testingsummit.com, and cast your vote at the end of the session. Your support will be much appreciated. So with this said, I'm handing over to Irina to discuss how SDET Testing Essentials empower developers to shift left, embed quality early, and build better software faster and smarter. Irina, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Nelline. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hi. Maybe we will start with a little bit about myself. I'm a business consultant. I'm a coach and a trainer. And today I want to introduce you into the topic of Beyond the Code, empowering developers with testing essentials. But as you will see, this isn't just about developers, it's about development teams. Because no matter your role, whether you write the code, define the requirements, manage the scope, or support the delivery, we all share one thing: the responsibility to build software that works and holds up in the real world. And that's where testing essentials comes in, not as a checklist, not as a process handed off at the end, but as a mindset, a mental process that moves us forward on a certain path. In this session, I'll share why testing knowledge is becoming essential for every role on a modern team, and how testing essentials can help create a common language of quality across developers, product owners, business analysts, and leads. Let's explore what it looks like to build great software together from the very first start. Let's go beyond code. Why testing essentials matter for everyone? We can imagine a familiar scenario. We're in the middle of a sprint, we've got a backlog item to close, a deadline to hit. So like many developers today, you try something efficient. You prompt ChatGPT or Copilot to generate a function for you. It runs, it returns the right result, and you move on. The code looks clean, the logic makes sense, it even passed a quick manual test. But here's the question: is it really done? In reality, what works today might fail tomorrow, especially when edge cases appear, integrations break, or assumptions change. Many teams are finding this out the hard way. AI-generated code is fast, yes, but it's often only handling the happy path, the clean, ideal scenario. What it needs to miss are the corner cases and edge conditions that reflect the real-world environments where software is actually used across different devices, data states, user behaviors, or system tools. These situations aren't unpredictable. They're just too often untested. And it's exactly in those areas where testing awareness becomes critical. How can we build clarity in such a real environment? Well, this isn't a rare case anymore. In many teams, code like this is going into production and then breaking up under real usage. Not because it's a bad code, but because nobody slowed down to ask what else could go wrong. And that's exactly where testing needs to enter the picture. Not as an afterthought, not as a handoff, but as a shared concern from the very beginning. Testing isn't just for testers anymore. In fact, many agile teams don't have a separate testing role at all. Developers are expected to build testable code and take responsibility for quality, but that only works if testing skills are actively part of their toolbox. Product owner, for example, are expected to define what good enough means, not just in features, but in testability and acceptance criteria. Scrum Master, on the other hand, they are expected to help teams surface blockers tied to unclear requirements, flaky features, or gaps in test coverage. So the testing mindset needs to be embedded in everyone in the team. So the question becomes, how can all of us, not just testers, contribute to quality? How can we build software that isn't just functional, but reliable, resilient, and collaboratively built with clarity? Well, that's where testing essentials come in. SDET Testing Essentials offers the proper approach for testing essentials for the whole team. This isn't a course just for engineers. It's a mindset and a toolkit that supports the whole team, from developers to architects to product owners and business analysts. It's for anyone involved in building software, actually. It's about speaking one shared language, quality. When we talk about shift left, we're not just talking about moving tasks earlier. We're talking about shifting awareness. We're saying, let's think about what quality means at the moment when we write code or define a user story or estimate a sprint. Because quality isn't just a checkbox, it's a shared value. And when the whole team understands how to test, not just mechanically, but strategically, we build software that lasts longer, scales better, supports the users, which are your clients, with fewer surprises. That's the heart of today's talk, empowering developers and everyone else on the team too with testing essentials. Testers know that quality isn't something we check at the end anymore. It's something we build right from the start. In traditional models, testing was a gate. In Agile and DevOps environments, it's a shared responsibility. This shift creates new challenges and new opportunities because now developers are expected to understand testing techniques. Product owners are asked to define done in ways that are verifiable, not just intuitive. Business analysts, on the other hand, are expected to catch edge cases. Scrum Masters are expected to facilitate conversations around risks and readiness. But here's the catch. Most of us weren't taught to think about quality as a team. We learned roles, deliverables, timelines, but now how to speak a shared language of quality. This is where SDET Testing Essentials step in. It offers practical testing knowledge that is relevant and usable for the entire delivery team. It's not about making everyone a tester. It's about helping each team member play their part with more clarity and confidence. Developers learn to think beyond syntax and into testability. Testers learn how to collaborate with developers earlier, not just validate after the fact. Product owners learn how to define quality in stories, not just accept outcomes. Business analysts learn how to express user journeys that include both success and failure paths. Project managers learn to track quickly as a leading indicator, not just a lagging one. This shared understanding saves time. It reduces miscommunication. It cuts down on rework. Think of it like this. If your whole team understands what quality means, not just in principle, but in practice, then your sprint planning becomes more accurate. Estimations become tighter. Releases become more stable, and your users notice. Teams that speak a common language of quality don't just ship features, they ship products people trust. That's the value of SDET Testing Essentials. It's not just a development skill, it's a team upgrade. Here we can look at real life situation. Let's say you ask ChatGPT to write a small piece of code. It could be a discount calculator, a sorting function, a basic API handler, and you get something like this, either Python, JavaScript, or Java. It looks good, it runs, you test a few values, all seems fine. So, is it production ready? Not really. The happy path works, but what about everything else? What if price is negative? What if discount is 1.5? What if discount is null or price is null? What if someone injects a string instead of a number? AI-generated code gives you syntax, but not safety. And that's where a testing-aware mindset makes all the difference. Here's how an SDET trained developer would approach it. He would look into input validation, so reject negative numbers, validate input ranges. Step 2, he would do some negative testing. That means would handle malformed or unexpected data. Watch for exception handling. Step 3, looking into static analysis. Run an analyzer or a linter. Catch vulnerabilities early. Step 4 would be unit testing. Cover edge cases. Write assertions for failure modes. Code review. Validate logic and risk assumptions. Think like a user, not just a coder. Another step, property-based testing. It uses randomness to find breaking points, to push limits systematically. These steps aren't hard. They just require awareness. And that's what SDET Testing Essentials teaches. It shows you how to test your code, even when you didn't write it yourself, especially when AI did. Because shipping something that runs isn't enough. We need to ask, where does it break and how soon can I know that? That is the SDET mindset. And that's how we build AI-enhanced software that's not just fast, but safe. So what exactly do we mean with testing essentials? In this context, it means having a structured understanding of testing, not just intuition or rules of thumb. The SDET Testing Essentials syllabus is built on the ISTQB CTFL syllabus. That means everything you learn is part of a global standard in testing knowledge. Some of the key areas it covers include activities like test process, from planning, execution to reporting and closure. Testing the SDLC, understanding how testing fits into agile, sequential, or hybrid models. Static testing, reviews like walkthroughs and static analysis that catch issues early. Test design techniques, like boundary value, like decision testing or equivalence partitioning, state transitions, and decision tables. Test management, it goes into defect lifecycle, prioritization, entry and exit criteria. Tool support, it's about how tools assist with automation, management, and reporting. These aren't just theory. They are frameworks for collaboration. When a developer and a tester both understand equivalence classes, their conversations become more efficient. When a PO knows what traceability means, their user stories improve. For example, imagine a team testing a login from where the password must be at least 8 characters. Using boundary value analysis, their test passwords of 7, 8, and 9 characters, just below and just above the threshold. It's focused, efficient, and aligned across roles. The syllabus doesn't replace testers and doesn't turn you into one either. It builds alignment across roles so everyone contributes to product quality with more clarity, fewer blockers, and quicker, better outcomes. It's not about being a specialist, It's about becoming a smarter contributor. Let's talk about what this looks like in real life. Why testing knowledge matters to you right now in your team. When developers understand testing, they write code that's easier to debug, easier to refactor, and safer to release. They spend less time on fixing bugs and more time building. They write code that is testable to prove that they deliver the quality requested by the customer. When product owners understand testability, their stories become clearer. The definition of done becomes real, not just implied. When business analysts understand edge cases, their flow becomes stronger. They stop handling of ambiguity. When developers, POs, and testers can speak the same language, testers stop being bottlenecks. They start being accelerators. The real value here isn't just better code. It's less friction, fewer assumptions, smoother handoffs. That is what saves time. That's what reduces rework. That's what builds trust. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about doing your role better because you understand how quality actually means and works. Let's look at what this syllabus actually is. The SDET Testing Essentials Syllabus is a theory-based program created by A4Q and aligned with the ICQB CTFL syllabus. It's designed to give professionals, especially those in hybrid or technical roles, a clear, consistent understanding of software quality. The content is structured, it's thorough, and it is for the whole development team. Developers, product owners, project managers, business analysts all benefit from having a shared language and understanding around testing principles. It covers how to design good tests, how to understand defect workflows, how to align coverage with risk, how to work with tools without relying on them blindly. It's not about memorizing terms. It's about understanding why those terms matter in real-life delivery. For growing teams, it helps aligning people with different experience levels. For agile teams, it clarifies how to embed quality thinking into each ceremony. For cross-functional teams, it reduces the lost in translation effect between development, test, and business. Bottom line, the SDET Testing Essentials syllabus gives your team a common baseline. So what now, we might ask? Well, this isn't just about a one-time course or an entry line in your CV. It's about how you and your team show up every day when building software. In story refinement, you could ask, how will we test this? In sprint planning, you could ask, where might this break? In code reviews, ask, are we assuming too much here? These are 3 questions that I challenge you to start using in your SDLC with your team and just observe the outcomes. And the SDET testing syllabus offers much more suggestions like this one and much more knowledge to understand why do we ask this and which is the outcome from answering these questions. So start small, add 1 extra test case, flag 1 risky assumption, pair with someone and ask what failure looks like. These little habits build something bigger, a culture of clarity, a rhythm of quality, a product your users actually trust. That's what SDET Testing Essentials is about, and that's what Beyond the Code really means. I want to thank you for being here and for choosing to build higher quality software products.
Thank you, Irina, for that insightful presentation on the SDET Testing Essentials syllabus, the mindset, and how it's important for all team members. So we do have a couple of questions from our audience that we can quickly look into, and then you can share your insight. So the first question, you say testing is everyone's responsibility, but how do we ensure quality without slowing the team down?
Great question. Thank you for that. Quality doesn't mean slowing down, and I'm not just saying that to contradict. Now, I will explain a bit. Quality means reducing rework and misunderstandings that happen later in the process. When everything or everyone has basic testing awareness, we avoid late surprises. So it's not about doing more during the process, but thinking smarter upfront, asking what might go wrong. While writing the code, actually, while defining the stories or estimating the effort, that actually speeds up the production over time.
Interesting. All right, we have another question. Let's have a look at that. We already have testers. Why do developers, POs, and BAs need to learn this too?
Well, because most quality issues aren't just test execution problems and not even development problems. They are collaboration gaps. Testers can't catch what wasn't clearly defined or built testably. When developers and BAs understand key testing concepts, the whole systems become stronger. Testers then become accelerators, not bottlenecks. This isn't about replacing testers. It's about unlocking the full potential of the team. When everybody thinks about quality, then this becomes like a leitmotif of everything that's under development, and it supports the whole team.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Do we have any additional questions? Yes. How does this SDET Testing Essentials syllabus actually help me in my day-to-day role?
In a day-to-day role without mentioning the role, it's an interesting question. Well, no matter the role, this syllabus gives you the language and structure to think critically about quality. In your code or your stories or estimates or flows, depending on your role, it's not just theory. It shows you where testing fits into your role. You'll make fewer assumptions. You will catch problems earlier and collaborate more clearly. That's less work, it's more trust, and better results from the team. Makes you a better professional.
Well, thank you, Irina. We've reached the end of our session, and if you have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll make sure to pass them along to Irina so she can share further insights with you. And then stay tuned for our next presentations, and remember, all sessions will be available to rewatch on our social media channels, as well as the testingsummit.com website. And then don't forget to vote for Irina's presentation on our website. That would be wonderful. And then I want to thank you, Irina, for being part of the Testing Summit once again. I've really enjoyed this presentation. I'm sure that everybody watching this at the moment also enjoys it. And thank you to everyone that's taken part in this. We hope that you enjoy the rest of the day and see you soon. Thank you so much, Irina.
Thank you. Thank you also. Thanks everybody for joining. Bye.
Bye.